So whether or not you choose to pursue your purpose, like whether you choose to pursue your purpose or not, you should understand that there is a price to pay. Either way, whether you choose to pursue your purpose, there is a price to pay. If you choose not to pursue your purpose, there is still a price to pay. The difference is in the price that you pay, you know, because if you choose to pursue your purpose, then the price you pay is in the beginning, because the price you pay is the laboring, the waiting, you know, the judgment, the criticism, the the looking like you are not, you don't know what you're doing, because you're putting in so much work, but there are no results, because the period between when you decide to pursue your purpose and when it's actually well developed enough for it to be presented to people, it is a very trying time, and it may take time. You do not know how much time it's going to take, but you're sure it's going to take time. And during this time, you may not see any results. You may see very, very little result at that time. And in this generation where people are used to instant coffee, fast food, microwaves, people are used to things happening fast, quick results. So if you're not giving quick results, then you may be judged, you may be ostracized, you may be talked about. That is the price you pay for pursuing your. Wait, wait, watch out. That is the price you pay for pursuing your purpose. Whereas, on the other hand, if you choose not to pursue your purpose, there's still a price to pay. But the price to pay for not pursuing your purpose is much. I think it's much more severe, because then you sit down and you look at people who pursued their purpose and people who you were in school with and you thought they were not as smart as you are, or they didn't perform as well as you did, or they didn't go to school as like their level of education is not as high as yours. you know you look at them and you look at their life and you realize that these people have made advancements, they are moving forward, and their purpose, it all worked out, and it's fulfilling and all that. You understand? So whether or not you choose to pursue your purpose, there is a price to pay. It is up to you to choose which one is better for you to pay. You know, I look at it as um, growing natural food as opposed to growing GMO food. You know, when you're growing GMO chicken, growing GMO food, uh, it grows quicker, it's faster, it has less labor, you know. But then again, the labor you didn't put in, you will pay for it later, because the food ends up being very, it could end up giving you diseases, you end up being sick and all those things, you know. But natural food, or natural, like let's give an example of let's use a chicken. If you compare raising a GMO chicken to raising a what is it called, a kienyeji chicken, the natural chicken, the natural way, the way it was before the GMO chicken came, you realize that the GMO chicken grows in a month, it is ready to be sold, you know but the natural chicken, in a month it is still a chick, you know and it is not as heavy, you know and the work that you put in this chicken is still quite much and for a very long time. But if you look at the results, the chicken is tastier, it is more nutritious, it is more fulfilling when you're taking that chicken as opposed to the other type of chicken. So it is up to us to choose which price that we want to pay. And this period, this I want to talk about when you choose to pursue your purpose. The price you have to pay is so much better for me, uh, because when you look at it, it is God sifting out what you don't need for your purpose and building what you need for your purpose. For example, you may have low self-confidence, low self-esteem. You may have vices. You may have habits that may hinder you from performing very well with your purpose. And all these things, God sifts them out, and He builds in you the things that He knows that you need to fulfill that purpose, so that when it is right, when it is ready to be presented before people, then at that time you don't fail. You are successful and you excel in whatever you're doing. Because one thing is for sure, God gives us a purpose inside us, but He gives it to us raw. It is raw and it is unnatured. It is up to us to develop it. And developing this takes time, you know. So that period of waiting requires a lot of faith. It requires for you to believe in what you're doing relentlessly. It requires for you to believe that this is what God has put in me and it is gonna pay off. You know, it is what there is no other option for me. And let me tell you something. When you pursue your purpose and you're living your purpose, whether you're making 100 shillings a day or 1,000,000 shillings a day, the you are so fulfilled. You know, you are happy. You're a better employer. You're a better employee. Like you become a better husband. You everything. You become very productive and you become a people magnet. You know, and you know what they say nowadays. Like where there is people, definitely you are gonna get resources. You're gonna get money. You know, in this time and age, if you can gather people around, if you can gather 100, 200, definitely they don't need to be the ones contributing the money, but they're advertisers. There are things like those. Like when you become a people magnet, you're going to attract a lot of resources, a lot of opportunities for yourself and even for others, because as people are meeting, they are networking. You know, so they're also creating more opportunities for themselves. You know, so I believe that it is very important for us to pursue our purpose and to pursue it the right way. Imagine a pregnant woman, because purpose is like a pregnancy. You know, it is uncomfortable when it is not birthed. It gives you sleepless nights. You know, it gives you nausea. It it literally just makes your life very, very difficult when you're still pregnant with it. You know, but the fulfillment of pregnancy, like when I talk to my wife about pregnancy, she tells me, like, after you give birth, that instance when you just give birth and you see your child, everything you have gone through is worth it. You know, all the nausea, all the sleepless nights, like you can't sleep on your tummy, you can't turn like this, the baby is kicking in the middle of the night. It's a lot of discomfort, but at the end of the day, you know, when you see what has come out, it becomes so fulfilling. You know, it is like an egg. It has to hatch from the inside. It has to hatch from the inside and not the outside. And for it to hatch from the inside, it has to go its full incubation period. So don't be afraid of going your full incubation period, because at that time you're being built, you're being given stamina. You know, you're being given stamina to withstand the trials that will come with your purpose. Everything that your purpose will bring, the adversity, the influence, you know, you may have a purpose that may also trigger a lot of pride in you. So you need to be taken through this school to learn how to be humble, to learn how to talk to people. You know, if it's business, you have to start small. You know, you have to invest 200 and then you lose it, so that when before you get to the time when you multiply this 200 to 1,000,000, there is no way you're ever going to lose money, because you have learned how to do it. And even when you lose money, you don't just give up and collapse, you know, because you know how to make the money in the first place. You know how to start from the bottom again. And that is exactly what you do. So it is said that most millionaires get bankrupt 2 or 3 times in their lifetime, you know. But because they know how to get back up again, it is not a big deal. So don't look for shortcuts. Don't go to sorcerers. Don't try to lie your way, cheat your way, look for shortcuts to get to wherever you want to go. Follow the process. Trust the process. Have faith. Believe that God is with you. And there's a special grace that comes with men who have determined to live God's purpose. You know, I can give you an example of a man like Abraham. You know, Abraham had already determined to live God's purpose. And even when he went to Egypt and he lied about Sarah being his sister rather than saying that he was his wife, instead of God punishing him, he actually went and warned Abimelech and told him, if you take that woman, you will be punished. You know, you will have diseases, like there will be consequences. And Abimelech had to go to Abraham to seek forgiveness for something that was not his fault. It is because God has a way of protecting his purpose, you know. Despite the fact that Ishmael was born before Isaac, you know, it didn't matter to God because the promised child was Isaac. God protects his purpose regardless. So when there was a conflict between Ishmael and Isaac, there was only one solution. One of them had to go, you know. And despite that, the fact that Hagar didn't have was faultless, like she had just been taken. She didn't have any say. She was a slave, you know. She didn't have any say in whether she wanted to be to go to have a baby for Abraham. She didn't. She was just taken. But even at that, she was still kicked out because God is fiercely protects his purpose. There is a grace that comes when you're pursuing God's purpose. You will walk in places where ordinary people walk and they die, but you will stand strong. You know, so do not be afraid. Do not look at other people. Do not listen to what people say. Listen to God. He is the one who owns that. It is his purpose. You know, we are just vessels, and in the midst of being vessels, we are privileged to be his vessels. It is beneficial for us to serve God's purpose because that is why he made us, for that particular purpose. And he tells us over and over again, do not be afraid. Be strong and courageous. You know, you have to be strong and courageous because you will have to fight, you know. And when the Bible says that we are more than conquerors, you know, you cannot be a conqueror when you have not fought. You know, you cannot be a conqueror in a battle when you have not engaged in any war. So it is obvious that for you to be more than a conqueror, you have to engage in more than a battle. You know, you have to engage with a battle that is more than average for you to be called more than a conqueror, because you have been made, you have been given the ability to conquer things that ordinary men may not conquer or will not conquer, because you have purposed to live God's purpose. So when you want, if you want to become more than a conqueror, then you have to be willing to get into the battlefield. You know, you cannot be a mother unless you become pregnant and you bear a child. That is a battle that you have to fight. There is no going around it. You know, it has to be done for you to be a mother, for you to be a legitimate mother. You know, and you cannot feel the same. You cannot feel the same affection for a child as a mother who has given birth if you have not gone through the process of giving birth. You know, so God equips us to be courageous, to be winners, you know. But for you to do that, you have to step into the battlefield. You know, you have to be willing to leave everything aside and step into the battle of this purpose. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31, God says that there is no trial that is not ordinary to men that he gives us. Like everything is ordinary. It has been conquered. Like men have gone through what you have gone before. So there is nothing to be afraid of. But the same verse says, he will make a way of escape. Like there is no way you are going to lose when you're with God. Read fast. Read the whole chapter of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, and you will understand what God is talking about when he says, like, we are going to be victorious. Like anything that we go through, he's the one who has allowed it to happen. We cannot go through anything that he has not looked at it and seen that we are going to overcome. So when you go through a trial, it should actually be a vote of confidence. You know, it is God giving you a vote of confidence and saying, you know what, if I have put you through that fire, it means that you are going to overcome. You know, so when you go through a trial, just say, oh God, you have already, this is another vote of confidence for me. You know, and he will make a way of escape for you. So my brothers and sisters, purpose is everything. You know, if you want to live a fulfilled life, if you want to look back like Paul and say, I have fought a good fight. If you want to look back when you're at your deathbed and say, yes, I lived a good life. The only way to live that is by living your purpose, because that is is what you are made for. That is what you are equipped for. That is what you do flawlessly. That is what you do without putting in too much effort. Without having sleepless nights, without getting diabetes, high blood pressure, and all those other diseases that come with the stress of nowadays living. You know, purpose is the answer to all our problems nowadays. If you're finding yourself struggling every single time, ask yourself, am I doing what I was made to do? Is this what God called me? Is this what I'm anointed for? Is this what I'm manufactured for? You could be a hacksaw trying to be a hammer, and that is the most frustrating thing. You could be a monkey trying to be a fish, and that is the most frustrating thing. How will a fish jump from one tree to another? How will a monkey swim? How will a monkey stay underwater? you know and when you don't pursue your purpose, that is exactly what you're doing. So my my message today is pursue your purpose relentlessly. Relentless. Forget about all these other things. Don't be afraid. Don't look at all the obstacles. Just focus. Focus on what you are made to do, because that is the place where you will excel. That is the place where you will have, we will say that you have a place in the universe. Like, the only way you have a place in the universe is if you pursue your purpose. That is where the universe is, okay, yes, now because you have excelled in this so well and you have stood out, you have a place in the universe. But if you don't pursue your purpose, you will just be mediocre, average, or even worse, frustrated, sick, you know. So pursue it. Pursue it. That is what you are made to do. That is what gives you right to be in this world, to be a creature of God in this world, pursuing your purpose. So do it, and don't make any apologies for it. Don't ask permission for it. Don't don't ask for validation for it. Don't look for validation or anything like that. Just do what you are made to do, and I'm sure God, the creator God who put you here, he will not let you down. He has not let anyone who has decided to do that down. So go, and go courageously. God bless.